All of you. I hope my audio and video is clear. Please let me know in the comment section if everything is fine so that we can have the class in a smooth manner. I welcome you all to the ESI Score Booster series that we've been doing for once every week, right? Let's do these questions. Before I begin, if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, you can do it from the Oliveboard app. Just go to the courses section. There's going to be a separate YouTube class PDFs folder, and you can download the PDF from here. Okay. Now, what are we going to cover today? Let's take a look at that. We are going to cover top MCQs from your economics and social issues, which are important for all regulatory exams, but especially for RBI Grade A and B, and very, very important for phase 2. So you can take this class as a challenge and note down the number of questions that you have done correctly. Fine. Good evening, Satyarth. Mr. Samosa, good evening. Chaliye. So, the first question, fill in the blanks based on the recent ASEAN India cruise dialogue. The first ever ASEAN India cruise dialogue was inaugurated in Dash. It was inaugurated in Chennai, Mamallapuram, or Kochi. What is the correct answer? Aboard the MV Empress Cordelia cruise ship by the Union Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, या फिर Ministry of Tourism, या फिर Ministry of Jal Shakti, Ministry of Ports. What is the correct answer? Shri Sarbananda Sonowal. The event aims to strengthen maritime cooperation and cruise connectivity across the Indo-Pacific region, with India planning to professionalize 5,000 kilometers of navigable waterways and achieve 1 million cruise passengers by the year dash under the Sagarmala initiative 2029, 28, 30, 29 or 2027. What is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? Satyarth has given me D as the answer. Anybody else would like to answer? Okay, so the correct answer is A and not D. It is Chennai, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, and 2029. ठीक है? Fine. So A is the correct answer, not D. Yes, A is the correct answer. ठीक है? Fill in the blanks based on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic visit to Europe in June 2025. During his landmark visit to Dash, Cyprus, Greece, or Malta, what is going to be filled over here? PM Narendra Modi witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between NPCI and Dash. Is it Eurobank Cyprus, Eurobank Greece, Bank of Cyprus, Eurobank Cyprus, what is the correct answer? Enabling UPI based cross border transactions for tourists, businesses, and expatriates. The partnership was hailed as historic by the country's president, Nikos Christodoulides, or Kyriakos Mitsotakis. है ना? These are two options over here. ठीक है और निकोस anastasa, however you can pronounce it. ठीक है तो you have to select out of these. Positioning the nation as a gateway for Indian trade into the European Union and the Mediterranean region. What is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? Question number 2, C or A? The correct answer for this is A. ठीक है, which is Cyprus, Eurobank Cyprus, and Nikos Christodoulides. ठीक है, fine. ठीक है, next question. Now question number 3. Identify the correct statements regarding EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism, CBAM. It is an EU tariff. CBAM is an EU tariff on carbon intensive products to prevent carbon leakage, ensuring imports bear a carbon price equivalent to EU domestic production, and applies to all goods entering from outside the EU, including online orders and gifts. This is the first statement. Second statement, during the transitional phase from October 23 to 25, EU importers must purchase CBM certificates quarterly and make financial payments before the definitive regime begins in 26. From 2026, EU importers will buy CBAM certificates priced at EU carbon market auction rates, declare embedded emissions annually, and deduct any carbon price already paid in the country of origin. CBM initially covers iron and steel, cement, fertilizers, aluminium, electricity, and hydrogen, starting with reporting obligations and moving to financial obligations later. Fifth statement, countries with equivalent carbon pricing are fully exempt from CBAM, including reporting and verification duties across both transitional and definitive phases. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 5, 1, 4, 5, or all are correct. You have to identify the correct statement out of these. Third question, what is the answer? Acha, I have already received B as the answer, which is absolutely correct. Your first statement is correct. Third, fourth statement is correct. Second is incorrect. Transitional phase 23 to 25 involves reporting only. Okay? Only reporting, not financial obligations. Financial obligations will start from 2026. Fifth statement is incorrect. Equivalent carbon pricing removes certificate purchase but does not exempt reporting or verification. Okay? Question number 4. Fill in the blanks based on Inspire Health Systems Forum held in Manila. At the Inspire Health Systems Forum in Manila, dash ADB, World Health Organization, ठीक है, और World Bank, led by President dash Masato Kanda, Masatsuga Asakawa, ठीक है, शिंजो सुजुकी और हरुहिको कुरोदा और मसाटो कांदा. ओके, हाँ, led by President dash, launched the dash network. Which network? Universal Health Coverage Practitioners and Experts Knowledge Exchange and Resources. ठीक है, और यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ कवरेज प्रोफेशनल्स एंड एक्सचेंज फॉर एविडेंस एंड रिसोर्सेज है ना. आई थिंक ऑल दीज आर ऑप्शन सेम. एंड लास्ट इज यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ कोलैबोरेशन प्लेटफॉर्म. ठीक है, these are the three options here. Bringing together health ministers and officials from over 25 countries to advance universal health coverage through peer-to-peer learning, health financing reform, primary healthcare innovations, inclusion of underserved communities, and private sector engagement, while complementing the UHC Knowledge Hub in Tokyo. The launch underscored that over 1 billion people in Asia and the Pacific lack access to essential health services, and that every $1 invested in primary healthcare yields $10 in economic returns, highlighting the necessity of strong public health systems. Fourth question, Satyarth Singh E. And I've got Satyarth Singh A, and I've got E also as the answer. A is absolutely correct. Okay? It is Asian Development Bank, Masato Kanda, Universal Health Coverage Practitioners and Experts Knowledge Exchange and Resources. Okay? So it's not WHO or World Bank. Fifth question, fill in the blanks based on UNESCO's recent developments and historic context. With its headquarters in Paris, UNESCO is a global cultural and educational body with 194 member states and 12 associate members. The organization's constitution was adopted in London on September 16, 1945, and came into force in 1946, with the S for science added later that year. Despite its mandate to foster education, science, and culture, geopolitical tensions persist. The Dash has announced its withdrawal for the Dash time. Is it United States or United Kingdom? For the third time, or the second time, or the fourth time? Effective December 31, 2026, citing reasons such as perceived anti-Israel bias and divisive agendas. The current Director General of UNESCO is Dash, who has served since 2017. Audrey Azoulay or Irina Bokova. What is the correct answer? Fifth question, A, B. Satyat says A, and I've got B as the answer. The correct answer is A. It is US for the third time, Audrey Azoulay. ठीक है? Sixth question, identify the correct statements regarding the Green Climate Fund approval and the India Green Finance Facility, including scope, governance, and institutional mandates. ठीक है? Just 1 second. So, first option, the Green Climate Fund has approved $200 million for the India Green Finance Facility, which marks the Asian Development Bank's first partnership with GCF in India, with the facility designed to catalyze concessional climate investments in clean energy technologies to accelerate a low carbon, climate resilient transition across sectors. Second option, the IGFF is positioned as a domestic sovereign fund entirely managed by India's Ministry of Finance and excludes multilateral participation. Consequently, it does not engage with ADB or GCF structures and does not target clean energy areas such as solar parks, battery storage, electric mobility, or resilient agriculture. The focus areas under IGFF explicitly include solar parks, battery energy storage systems, electric mobility solutions, resilient agriculture, with concessional funding intended to de-risk private capital, improve project bankability, and scale climate-aligned infrastructure across India's states and urban markets. The Green Climate Fund is the world's largest dedicated climate fund, established in 2010, headquartered in Incheon, Republic of Korea, operating as an entity under UNFCCC mechanism to support implementation of NDCs under Paris Agreement, and governed by a GCF board that reports to the Conference of Parties. Fifth statement, last statement, by governance design, GCF does not interact with multilateral development banks and is independent of UNFCCC oversight. Therefore, it neither operates under a board nor reports to COP, and its mandate is primarily cultural heritage preservation rather than climate finance aligned to NDCs. So, you have to identify the correct statements. 1, 2, and 3 only, 1, 3, and 4, 2, 3, 5, 1, 4, 5, or all are correct. Sixth question, I've received D or B. The correct answer is B. ठीक है? B is 1, 3, and 4. So first statement is correct. Second is incorrect. IGFF is not a purely domestic sovereign fund excluding multilaterals. Rather, it is a climate finance program which is jointly launched by ADB and GCF. Okay, it does target clean energy domains such as solar parks, battery storage, e-mobility, and resilient agriculture. Third statement is correct. Fourth is correct. Fifth is incorrect. Okay, GCF does interact with multilateral development banks also. It is within UNFCCC's financial mechanism and reports to COP. Its mandate is climate finance, not cultural heritage preservation. Okay, that's UNESCO, right? Question number 7. This is also a very lengthy question. You have to identify the correct statements regarding India's National Biofoundry Network and the Bio E3, Biotechnology for Economy, Environment and Employment Policy. First statement launched on August 25, 2025, coinciding with first anniversary of India's Bio-E3 policy. National Biofoundry Network has been conceptualized as a bio-enabler under Bio-E3 framework with explicit objective of scaling proof of concept projects into viable technologies and providing shared infrastructure and hands-on training or internships to build interdisciplinary biomanufacturing talent for startups, SMEs, industry and academia. Second statement, within the network's functional remit, biofoundries are defined as automated facilities that can rapidly design, build, optimize engineered organisms by integrating DNA synthesis, gene editing, and high throughput biomanufacturing workflows. Exemplar thematic efforts including ICGEB's microbial strain engineering for first or second generation biofuels and IIT Madras animal free hyaluronic acid, illustrating the research to scale pipeline that the network is intended to catalyze. The term proof of concept, as used in the network's objectives, is explicitly a market validation and production scaling study whose purpose is primarily to estimate demand curves and define manufacturing line designs. Thus, POC under the scheme is not concerned with feasibility or viability testing at the idea or construct stage. ठीक है? Fourth statement, the Bio-E3 policy approved in 24 under the Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, aims to revolutionize biomanufacturing via innovation-driven R&D and entrepreneurship, bio-AI hubs, biofoundries for technology development and commercialization, and PPP-driven implementation that prioritizes regenerative or circular bioeconomy with a strategic target to double India's bioeconomy to $300 billion US by 2030 across sectors such as precision, biotherapeutics, carbon capture and utilization, functional foods, and smart proteins. Last statement, as a financing construct, the National Biofoundry Network functions as a standalone private venture fund outside the Bio E3 policy ecosystem, is not categorized as a bioenabler, and is restricted to academic laboratories only, thereby excluding startups, SMEs, and industry users for accessing infrastructure or skill building programs. Furthermore, it does not integrate training or internships into its service stack. You have to identify the correct statements 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 4, 1, 2, and 3, B, 1, 2, and 4, 2, 3, 5, 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, 5, 1, 4, 5. This is C option, this is D option, and E option is all are correct. Hanji, what is the correct answer? Seventh question. Seventh question, B. The correct answer is B. Very good. 1, 2, and 4. So 1, 2, and 4 statements are correct. 3 is incorrect, and 5 is also incorrect. Why 3 is incorrect? This is a trap based on reversal of POC definition under provided description. POC is a demonstration of feasibility and viability of an idea or approach, not a study to assess market demand or define production methods or lines. So POC is primarily market or production validation rather than technical feasibility, which is incorrect. Okay? Fifth is incorrect. It contradicts multiple elements, like the network is not a standalone private venture fund. उसमें क्या लिखा था? It is a standalone private venture fund. So it is not. It is explicitly categorized as bio-enabler under BioE3. It does not offer shared infrastructure or training, internships and all to startups, SMEs, industry and academia. Plus, it is not restricted to academic labs, and its design explicitly promotes broad access and skill development. ठीक है? Eighth question. Fill in the blanks based on Global Renewable Energy Initiative. RE100, which is Renewable Energy 100%, launched in 2014. It is a global campaign uniting businesses committed to sourcing 100% renewable electricity. Led by Dash, led by whom? Climate Group or UNFCCC or IPCC. And Dash, CDP, IEA. ठीक है? The initiative spans 175 markets and includes over 400 companies, from startups to Fortune 500 giants like Apple, Google, and Infosys. Members pledge to transition all operational electricity covering offices, factories, and data centers to renewables by Dash 2050, 2030, or 2040, or earlier, and must publicly report annual progress towards this goal. Eighth question, I've got A as the answer, which is absolutely correct. Climate Group, CDP, and 2050. Okay? Ninth question here, fill in the blanks based on the launch of India's first National Biobank. National Biobank. On August 25, 2025, Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh inaugurated the phenomenon India National Biobank at Dash, CSIR, Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology, or CSIR, Institute of Genomics and Genetic Diseases, or CSIR, the same option as the first one, or CSIR, Institute of Genetic Biology. Out of these three, what is the option? In Dash, in Delhi, Bengaluru, or Mumbai. Drawing inspiration from the Dash from UK Biobank model, and all options include UK Biobank model. The Indian Biobank aims to collect genomic, lifestyle, and clinical data from 10,000 individuals nationwide, enabling personalized healthcare and population-specific strategies to combat complex diseases like diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular disorders. Question number 9. I've got A as the answer. The correct answer is A. CSIR, Institute of Genomics and Integrative Biology in Delhi, and it is based on UK Biobank model. Okay? Question number 10 is based on ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce. First statement, it is incorporated as Section 8 company under aegis of DPIIT. It is not an e-commerce platform or marketplace. It is an open protocol or network designed to enable decentralized and interoperable commerce across digital electronic networks, thereby reducing seller customer acquisition cost and making discovery platform agnostic. Second statement, unlike conventional closed e-commerce ecosystems, ONDC fosters direct buyer-seller interactions across multiple participating applications. A seller onboarded on any ONDC compliant seller app is discoverable by buyers on all ONDC compliant buyer apps, which expands the seller's customer pool and reduces reliance on a single dominant marketplace's algorithms or fee structures. Third option, ONDC CAC reduction flywheel rests on two pillars. Bringing digitally underserved and unserved consumers into the e-commerce ecosystem, thereby expanding the aggregate demand accessible to sellers and integrating with other digital platforms that already have large user bases, allowing sellers to tap existing audiences without duplicative acquisition spend. Fourth option, ONDC Sahayak A WhatsApp bot has been launched directly in 22 Indian languages from day one, and ONDC's onboarding efforts are limited to medium and large formal enterprises. It does not actively work with self help groups, social sector sellers, or micro entrepreneurs through ecosystem partners such as SIDBI and NABARD. Fifth option, ONDC's network architecture emphasizes unbundling and interoperability. Different participants can specialize in discrete parts of the value chain. Cataloging, logistics, payments, buyer seller apps, etc., which increases competition among seller applications, pressures transaction fees downward, and contrasts with traditional platforms. You have to find the incorrect statement out of all these. Question number 10. Incorrect statement. ठीक है, maximum are correct. Only one statement out of these is incorrect. Option 4. That is absolutely correct. Only this option 4 is incorrect. Rest all are correct. ठीक है. So ONDC सहायक was launched in 5 languages. वहां पे क्या लिखा था 22 languages. That is not correct. ठीक है. It will be extended to 2022. अभी not launched in 22 from day one. ठीक है. Plus ONDC actively work to onboard SHGs, social sector sellers, micro entrepreneurs through partners like SIDBI, NABARD and other philanthropic developmental organizations. ठीक है. So both are wrong over here. Question 11 to 15 is based on this paragraph. The recent district level assessment in India's northeastern region focuses on progress toward SDGs. This evaluation highlights significant improvements in health, education, water access, and gender equality. However, challenges persist in areas such as climate resilience, inequality, and sustainable consumption. Districts are classified into categories: achiever, front runner, performer, aspirant based on composite scores, and the latest edition reflects both gains and gaps in achieving inclusive growth. ठीक है. 11th question, which of the following statements accurately describe trends observed in the latest regional SDG assessment? The proportion of districts classified as front runner increased from approximately 62% in the previous edition to 85% in the current edition, indicating accelerated progress across multiple goals. B option, all districts in Mizoram, Sikkim, Tripura achieved front runner status, reflecting uniform performance and minimal intra-state disparities. C statement, the number of aspirant districts under SDG 2, which is zero hunger, remained unchanged between the two editions, suggesting persistent challenges in nutritional outcomes. Programs such as Jal Jeevan Mission and Swachh Bharat Mission have significantly contributed to improvements under SDG 6, which focuses on clean water and sanitation. So you have to find out the correct statement out of these. A option is A and B, B is AD, C is ABD, D is BCD, or E is A and C. Question number 11, what is the correct answer? Anybody else who would like to answer this question? Eleventh question, B or C? The correct answer is C, ठीक है, which is A, B, D. So A is correct. Front runner share rose from 62 to 85%. B is correct. Mizoram, Sikkim, Tripura, all districts are front runners. ठीक है, A, B is correct. D is correct. Jal Jeevan Mission and Swachh Bharat Mission drove SDG 6 gains. ठीक है. Only C option is incorrect. Aspirant districts under SDG 2 dropped sharply from 21 to 1. ठीक है. Fine. Remain unchanged नहीं, but dropped. ठीक है. Fine. Okay, and the questions, this was based on Northeastern Region District SDG Index of 23-24. It is jointly released by Niti Aayog and Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region, Moderner, with support from UNDP. ठीक है. Fine. This index evaluates performance of 121 districts. ठीक है, तो 121 districts का performance across 8 northeastern states on 15 SDGs using 84 indicators. ठीक है. 12th question, which of the following statements are true regarding state level performance and thematic gaps? A option, Nagaland exhibits the widest intrastate score gap among assessed states, while Sikkim shows the narrowest difference, indicating contrasting patterns of equity in development. B option is Tripura's districts demonstrate both high absolute scores and minimal variation, with a gap of less than 7 points between its best and worst performers. C option, climate action, which is SDG 13, remains a strong area for all states with no districts falling into the aspirant category in the latest edition. D option, Arunachal Pradesh recorded notable progress in SDG 6 and SDG 8 but continues to face challenges in SDG 13 and SDG 9. E option, the top 10 districts in the region include representation from Mizoram, Tripura, Nagaland, and Sikkim, reflecting a concentration of high performers in these states. ABD, ACE, BCD, ADE, or BDE, which of these are true? 12th question, what is the correct answer? 12th question, A, the correct answer is D and not A. ठीक है, A is correct, B is correct, D is correct, and E is correct. Only C option is incorrect. SDG 13 still has 49 aspirant districts. ठीक है, fine. Okay. Next, next question number 30. Which of the following statements about the classification and scoring framework was incorrect? A option. Districts scoring between 50 and 64.99 are categorized as front runners, reflecting moderate progress towards SDG targets. Achiever status is reserved for districts that attain a perfect score of 100 across all applicable indicators. Performer category includes districts that have not yet reached frontrunner status but score above 50 on the composite index. ठीक है? Aspirant districts are those with scores below 50 indicating significant gaps in meeting SDG benchmarks. The classification system was introduced only in the latest edition of the index, replacing earlier percentile based rankings. So A, B, uh, uh, AE, BC, ACE or ADE. What is the correct answer? हाँ, climate action. Yes, yes. ठीक है. B, the correct answer is B. B, C, D are correct. Only A is incorrect. Front runner 65 to 99.99, 50 to 64.99 is performer. ठीक है. Fill in the blanks. The latest edition of regional SDG index assessed dash districts out of a total of 131. 103, 121, 120. What is the answer in this first blank? Using dash indicators 74, 84, 88 drawn from both union and state sources. Among these, dash districts achieved frontrunner status, marking a significant improvement over the previous cycle 89, 103, 121, or 85. 14th question, what is the correct answer? Question number 14. B, B, A, the correct answer is B. Coverage is 121 districts, indicators are 84, and there are 103 front runners. ठीक है? 15th question. The Northeastern Region SDG Index 2023-24 demonstrates that states with a higher proportion of frontrunner districts such as Mizoram and Tripura have achieved remarkable progress in multiple thematic areas including health, education and gender equality. This performance reflects the combined impact of national flagship schemes and localized planning efforts that have strengthened service delivery at the grassroots level. Reason, the classification of districts into categories such as achiever, frontrunner, performer, and aspirant, they are introduced for the first time in the latest edition of the index, replacing earlier percentile based rankings and fundamentally altering the comparative framework. Both A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A, or R is not the correct explanation of A. A true, R false, A false, R true, or both are false. What is the correct answer out of these? 15th question. B, A, the correct answer is B. Okay? The correct answer is B, which is both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Okay? So Mizoram and Tripura have all districts in front runner, showing strong gains in health, education, and gender equality due to targeted schemes and localized planning. Reason is true, but it is not the explanation of A. Okay? Fine. 16 to 20th question are based on this World Economic Outlook October 2025 report. Okay? Very important. If you guys have attended today's session, today I took up a session at 4 p.m. of World Economic Outlook. I'm sure you'll be able to solve this question, right? So, World Economic Outlook October 25, published by the International Monetary Fund. It analyzes global economic prospects and amid heightened trade tensions, tariff shocks, policy uncertainty. The report highlights slowing growth, uneven inflation trends, fiscal vulnerabilities, and risks from technology driven investment booms. It also explores commodity market dynamics, emerging market resilience, policy recommendations for restoring confidence, and sustainability. Okay, so let's see the first question number 16 over here. Which of the following statement correctly reflect the global economic outlook and associated risks as per the latest World Economic Outlook? A option. Despite temporary resilience in early 2025, global trade patterns have become increasingly fragmented, with induced distortions and rerouting of supply chains expected to weigh on medium term efficiency and growth. B statement. Inflation in advanced economies is expected to remain above 4% through 2026, primarily driven by persistent energy price shocks and structural supply constraints across all major economies. The report warns that prolonged tariff uncertainty could lead to front loading of imports initially, followed by sharp contractions in investment and consumption as precautionary behavior dominates. D statement. Fiscal vulnerabilities are highlighted as a major concern, with debt ratios projected to rise in several advanced economies despite temporary revenue gains from tariff collections. E statement. AI related investment booms are expected to permanently raise global productivity by 2% annually over the next decade, eliminating medium term growth concerns. ABC, ACD, ADE, BCE, or ABD? What is the correct answer? 16th question. A, B. The correct answer is B. A is correct. Okay. Trade fragmentation and rerouting weigh on efficiency. So first statement is correct. Second is incorrect. Advanced economy inflation projected near 2 to 2.5, not above 4%. Okay. So here not above 4%, 2 to 2.5%. Okay. Tariff uncertainty causes front loading. We had understood the meaning of front loading, है ना, कि मतलब initially हमें पता है कि अभी थोड़ी देर बाद टैरिफ्स लग जाएंगे तो हम फटाफट से अभी ही इंपोर्ट करने लग जाएं, ऐसा करके, है ना, फ्रंट लोडिंग. फिर D is correct. Debt ratios rise despite tariff revenues. And fifth is incorrect. AI gains modest 0.3 to 0.4%, 2% annually नहीं. ठीक है. 17th question. Which statements accurately describe commodity market trends and their macroeconomic implications? Oil prices forecast to average 68.9 per barrel in 25, reflecting strong supply growth from OPEC Plus and subdued global demand amid tariff-induced uncertainty. B option. Precious metals surged by over 12% during mid 2025 as investors sought safe haven assets amid geopolitical tensions and rising central bank gold reserves. C option. Agricultural commodity prices rose sharply in the second half of 25 due to persistent drought conditions and export restrictions, reversing earlier declines in cereals and coffee. Natural gas prices in Europe fell by more than 15% between March and August, driven by flexible storage targets and weak industrial demand linked to trade disruptions. China's export controls on rare earth elements caused a temporary collapse in global magnet production, with prices for key feedstocks dropping by 30% during April to May 25. ABD, ACE, BCD, ABC, or ACD? You have to identify the correct statements out of these. Hanji, what is the answer? 17th question. Commodity market trends. 17th question, D. The correct answer is A. A is correct. Oil forecast $68.9 per barrel. Supply is greater than demand. In this case, B is correct. Gold up 12.8%. D is correct. TTF gas prices fell approximately 16.6%. ठीक है, natural gas prices, ठीक है, and C is incorrect, agriculture prices declined, ठीक है, early gains reversed, agriculture prices declined. E is incorrect, rare earth prices spiked 30%, drop नहीं होगा, spike increase हुआ है because चाइना ने भी export controls लगाए थे जिस वजह से prices increased, right? 18th question, which of the following statements about fiscal and monetary policy outlook are incorrect? Incorrect, ठीक है, advanced economies are projected to maintain a broadly neutral fiscal stance, but US debt to GDP ratio is expected to stabilize at 122% through 2030 under current policies. The euro area fiscal deficit is projected to widen in 26, partly due to increased spending on infrastructure and defense, raising debt sustainability concerns. Monetary policy in major economies is expected to converge towards uniform easing paths, with policy rates dropping below 1% globally by the end of 26. IMF emphasizes preserving central bank independence as a critical pillar for anchoring inflation expectations and avoiding fiscal dominance risks. Emerging markets with strong policy frameworks are advised to delay monetary tightening during risk-off shocks to prevent unnecessary output losses. So you have to identify the incorrect statements out of these: A, C, B, E, D, C, A, C, E, A, B, D. Question number 18. I have received D as the answer. Anybody else? 18th question D. C is the correct answer. ठीक है, C is the incorrect वाला, C मतलब C option is the correct answer. D and C, these are incorrect. So wait, you've given me D as the answer. So they have marked it incorrectly. So A and A, C, E are incorrect. Right. So the answer is D. So you guys are absolutely correct. The answer marked here is wrong. The answer is D. So A is incorrect. US debt projected to rise to 143% by 2030, not stabilize at 122%. ठीक है, C is incorrect. Policy paths diverge. US rates approximately 3%, not less than 1%. E option is incorrect. Strong frameworks reduce need for interventions, not delay tightening. ठीक है, B and C are correct. Euro area deficit widens due to infrastructure and defense spending, and D is correct. Independence stressed for stability. ठीक है. Now, 19th question. The October 2025 World Economic Outlook projects global growth to slow down from dash in 24 to dash in 2025 and further to dash in 2026. This was the first statement only that we did, है ना? 3 points 3.6 to 2.8 to 2.6, या फिर 3.3 to 3.2 to 3.1, 3.5 to 3 to 2.9, 3.4 to 3.1 to 3, 3.3 to 3 to 2.8. A, B, C, D. What is the A, B, C? A, B, C, D, E. What is the correct answer? ठीक है, reflecting headwinds from trade fragmentation, tariff uncertainty, and fiscal vulnerabilities despite temporary boost from front-loaded trade and AI-driven investment. 19th question, what is the correct answer? A, B, C, D, 3.3, 3.2, 3.1 you are saying. B, that means you are saying, right? The correct answer is absolutely correct, B. ठीक है? 20th question, match each region or economy with its projected 2025 GDP growth rate. US, Euro area, India, China, Sub-Saharan Africa, and right side we have 2%, 1.2%, 6.6%, 4.8 or 4.1%. Try to correct all of this. 1 2 3 4 5, 2 1 4 3 5, 1 3 2 4 5, 1 2 4 3 5, or 1 2 3 5 4. Match these and give me the answer in the comment section. Question number 20. I've got A as the answer. Anybody else? The correct answer is A, absolutely correct. So it is A 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 basically. ठीक है, United States 2%, Euro area 1.2, India 6.6, China 4.8, Sub-Saharan Africa 4.1. Question 21 to 25 based on this global economic outlook report only. ठीक है, let's just skip to the question 21. Which of the following statement correctly describe India's structural and policy challenges in the current global context? A option. India's ability to sustain long-term growth hinges on accelerating structural reforms, including improving institutional quality and reducing regulatory bottlenecks that have historically constrained private investment. B option. The report emphasizes that India's fiscal space remains ample, allowing for aggressive expansionary policies without any risk of debt sustainability concerns over the medium term. C option. Strengthening human capital through targeted education and skill development programs is highlighted as a critical priority to address the looming jobs challenge amid rapid demographic shifts. D option. India's participation in global value chains is projected to decline sharply in the next 2 years, primarily due to deliberate policy choices aimed at reducing trade openness and promoting import substitution. E option. The report suggests that enhancing competition policy and improving the investment climate are essential steps to attract foreign direct investment and boost productivity growth. ACE, ABD, BCD, ADE, or ABE. Which all of these are correct? Question number 21. I have received A as the answer. Anybody else who would like to answer? The answer is A, absolutely correct, which is ACE. है ना? So A, C, E are correct. B is incorrect. Fiscal space is constrained. Debt sustainability is a concern. D is incorrect. No sharp decline projected. Focuses on diversification, not isolation. Acha, this was your global economic prospects June 2025 report. Acha, not your global economic outlook report. ठीक है ये पैराग्राफ वाज रॉन्ग सो दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन योर ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक प्रोस्पेक्ट्स जून 2025 रिपोर्ट ठीक है Question number 22. Which statements accurately reflect India's external sector and financial vulnerabilities? A. India's forex reserves remain robust, providing a buffer against external shocks even as global financial volatility has increased due to trade policy uncertainty. B option. The composition of India's external debt has shifted towards a higher share of short-term borrowings, raising concerns about rollover risks in the event of sudden capital outflows. C option. The report anticipates a surge in portfolio inflows to India in 2025, driven by global investors' preference for emerging markets and heightened geopolitical tensions. D option. Sovereign bond spreads for India are expected to widen significantly, reflecting deteriorating macroeconomic fundamentals and rising fiscal risks. India's current account deficit is projected to remain moderate, supported by resilient service exports and contained merchandise trade imbalances. So, which are the correct statements out of here? ABE, ACD, BCE, ADE, or BDE? Question number 22. हाँ जी 22nd D. The correct answer is A and not D. तो A, B, E are correct. C and D are incorrect. ठीक है portfolio inflows face headwinds not surge. So portfolio inflows कम हुए हैं not increased. Spread remains contained not widening sharply. ठीक है Question number 23. Consider the following statements about India's growth drivers and risks. Private consumption is projected to remain the main driver of growth, aided by moderating inflation and steady real income gains. B statement. Investment growth is expected to accelerate sharply in 25, reaching double-digit rates as global trade tensions boost investor confidence. C option. India's exposure to global trade shocks is negligible given its minimal reliance on exports for GDP growth. Downside risks include persistent global uncertainty, weaker external demand, and potential volatility in capital flows. The report anticipates a severe contraction in India's services sector output in 25 due to tariff related disruptions. ABC, BCE, ADE, BDE, or CDE? Correct statements. Question number 23. Hanji, what is the correct answer out of these? 23C, that is not correct. ठीक है C, they are saying ADE है ना correct. So अच्छा that is wrong. B option is wrong. Your A is correct, D is correct. So A and D are correct. ठीक है A and अच्छा यहाँ पे then the question should have been incorrect statement, right? Incorrect statement should have been the question. The question is only a little wrong. B, C, E are incorrect. That is your answer is B here. B, C, E are incorrect. ठीक है So you had to find out the incorrect statements. ठीक है Fine. A is correct. Private consumption remains key driver. D is correct. Risks include global uncertainty and capital flow volatility. B, C, and E are incorrect. Investment growth slows, not accelerate. So वहाँ पे लिखा है accelerate, but it is slow. C option is incorrect. Exposure is moderate, not negligible, and services remain resilient. Question number 24. India's economic outlook for 25 reflects a delicate balance between domestic resilience and global headwinds. Real GDP growth is forecast at dash 6.3%, 6%, 6.5%, or 6.2%, slightly below the previous year's pace as heightened trade policy uncertainty and tariff related disruptions weigh on external demand. Inflation is projected to average dash 4.5, 3, 4, or 3.8, influenced by lingering price pressures in services and the pass through of higher import costs. Meanwhile, the general government fiscal deficit is expected to hover near dash of GDP as authorities pursue gradual consolidation while maintaining infrastructure investment 657%. What is the answer? 24th question. I have received C as the answer. Anybody else? 24th question. Correct answer is A and not C. ठीक है 6.3, 4.5 and 6%. Yes, Satyarth, A is absolutely the correct answer. C नहीं है, A है. ठीक है. Match the following policy priorities with their corresponding objectives. Enhance digital infrastructure, expand education and skill development, strengthen tax administration, promote labor market flexibility. B में objective, mobilize domestic revenues and reduce fiscal deficits, improve productivity and job quality, facilitate formalization and better work-firm match, boost human capital and long-term growth. What is the correct answer? Try to match column A and column B. 25A, I've received A as the answer, which is absolutely correct. A is the correct answer. 1, 2, 3, 1B, ठीक है, enhance digital infrastructure, improve productivity and job quality. ठीक है, 2D, expand education and skill development to boost human capital and long-term growth potential. 3A, strengthen tax administration to mobilize domestic revenues and reduce fiscal deficits and promote labor market flexibility to improve productivity and job quality. ठीक है. Then question 26 to 30, last set of questions is depends on this Asian Development Outlook September 2025 report. Which of the following statements accurately reflect India's growth dynamics and external environment in the context of the report? A option. India's growth momentum in the first half of 25 was primarily supported by strong public capital expenditure, which helped offset weaker private consumption and subdued net exports and amid tariff related disruptions. B option. The report notes that India's manufacturing sector contracted sharply in early 25 due to persistent supply chain bottlenecks and a collapse in global demand for technology intensive goods. C option. Despite tariff escalations, India's services sector continued to exhibit resilience driven by robust domestic demand for travel, recreation, and professional services, which cushioned the impact of external headwinds. D option. The outlook emphasizes that India's exposure to US tariff hikes is limited to niche sectors with negligible implications for aggregate export performance and overall GDP growth. E option. The report highlights that India's growth forecast for 25 was revised downward, reflecting the combined impact of higher trade barriers and weaker investor sentiment and global uncertainty. ACE, ABD, BCD, ADE, or ABE? 26. I have received A as the answer, which is absolutely correct. ठीक है, so A, C and E are correct. B is incorrect. Manufacturing improved, not contracted. D is also incorrect. Exposure is significant, especially in key export sectors. So this is based on your Asian Development Outlook of September 2025 report. Question number 27. Which statements correctly describe India's inflation and monetary policy trends? Headline inflation in India eased in 2025, supported by improved agriculture output, moderating global oil prices, and creating space for monetary policy tightening. B option. Report indicates India's core inflation surged to multi-year highs amid in mid 2025, driven by rising housing and energy costs, prompting the central bank to tighten policy aggressively. C option. Temporary government measures, including electricity tariff reductions and targeted food subsidies, contributed to disinflationary pressures during the first half of the year. C option, inflationary risks for 26 are expected to remain muted as structural reforms in supply chains and energy pricing are projected to permanently lower cost pressures. E, outlook suggests that while inflation moderated in 25, normalization of food prices and currency depreciation could push inflation higher in the following year. What is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? 27th, A, C, C. The correct answer is A. ठीक है, which is A, C, E. ठीक है, so A is correct, B, C is correct, E is correct. अच्छा, if you see here, you can eliminate also, even if you have not read the report, and if you know that how is the Indian economy moving forward. So you can see this B option. Look at this B option. Report indicates that India's core inflation surged to multi-year highs. ऐसा हुआ था क्या? Multi-year rise. In fact, inflation to controlled core inflation, driven by rising housing and energy costs, prompting central bank to tighten policy. Central bank ने तो tighten ही नहीं किया. It was focusing on accommodative stance. So B वाला तो you could have eliminated easily. So wherever we have B option, you can eliminate it. है ना? Then if you see this D option, inflationary risks for 26 are expected to remain muted as structural reforms in supply chains and energy pricing are projected to permanently lower cost pressures. क्या कभी कभी भी cost pressures permanently lower हो सकते हैं? This is a very extreme statement. So you can eliminate this also. So eliminate D option, eliminate it, and A is left. That is absolutely correct. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से भी even if you have not read the report, थोड़ा बहुत आपको इंडिया में क्या चल रहा है उसका आइडिया है, तो you can easily solve the question. ठीक है. Question number 28. Consider the following statements about India's external sector and financial conditions. Which of the following are incorrect? A option. India recorded a surge in merchandise exports to the US in mid 25 driven by tariff front running and strong global demand for electronics and AI related products. B option. The report highlights that India's equity markets posted robust gains in quarter 3 of 2025 supported by foreign portfolio inflows and optimism over trade negotiations. C option. India's currency appreciated sharply against the US dollar throughout 25 reflecting strong capital inflows and improving trade balances. D option. Debt service ratios in India remain elevated with interest payments accounting for a significant share of government revenues posing fiscal challenges amid global volatility. E statement. The outlook suggests that India's exposure to global financial shocks is negligible given its limited integration with international capital markets. So you have to identify the incorrect statements out of these. A, B, C, B, C, E, A, D, E, B, D, E या फिर C, D, E. 28th question. B. Satyarth is saying anybody else? The correct answer is B, which is B, C, E. तो incorrect क्या है? B, C, E are incorrect. A और D आपका correct है. Export surge occurred due to tariff front running and debt service burden is high. B is incorrect. Equity markets declined in quarter 3 amid tariff hikes and outflows. ठीक है? Equity markets gains नहीं है, decline. C is incorrect. Currency weakened slightly. इसमें क्या लिखा है? Appreciated. हम तो depreciation देख रहे हैं ना, so this is also incorrect. India is significantly integrated with global markets. यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? That India's exposure to global financial shocks is negligible. नहीं भाई, we are properly integrated with foreign countries and negligible नहीं होगा. ठीक है? 29th question. India's macroeconomic outlook for 25 financial year 25 reflects a delicate balance between domestic resilience and external headwinds. Growth is projected to moderate as tariff related disruptions weigh on exports, even as public investment supports infrastructure expansion. Headline inflation eased during the year, aided by improved food supply and lower global oil prices, while underlying price pressures remain contained. However, risks persist for financial year 26 with potential upward adjustments in food costs and currency depreciation. The report underscores that monetary policy remains accommodative with central banks signaling further easing to support demand. Against this backdrop, India's fiscal position faces strain from elevated interest costs, which absorb nearly dash of government revenues, while the primary deficit remains high. Dash one fifth, one third, one fourth. What will be in this first blank over here? External vulnerabilities are compounded by rising short-term debt exposure and volatile capital flows, even as foreign exchange reserves provide a buffer. The outlook emphasizes that inflation could rise to dash in financial year 26, 4.2, 3.8, 4, or 4.2, while GDP growth is expected to hover near dash 6.5, 6, 6.8, or 6.3, reflecting persistent global uncertainty. I've got C as the answer for 29th question, or A. The correct answer is A. ठीक है, which is 1/5, 4.2%, 6.5%. Last question for today. Match the following. On left hand side you have policy priority, right side the objective. Match the following. First statement: accelerate infrastructure investment, enhance agriculture productivity, strengthen debt management frameworks, promote digital financial inclusion. Column B: stabilize food prices and reduce inflation volatility, broaden access to credit and enhance financial depth, mitigate fiscal risks and improve sustainability, or support long term growth and crowd in private capital. Match these. What is the correct answer? 30th A. The correct answer is A. 1 D. So 1D, which is accelerate infrastructure investment to support long term growth and crowd in private capital. Enhance agriculture productivity to stabilize food prices and reduce inflation volatility. Strengthen debt management frameworks to mitigate fiscal risks and improve sustainability, promote digital financial inclusion to broaden access to credit and enhance financial depth. Okay? So this is the correct answer. So that is all from my side. If you guys want to connect with me on Telegram, I'm sharing my Telegram handle with you. Just type Mannat Educator, you will have access to my Telegram group. Okay? Fine. Uh, so if you guys also want to join phase 2 crash course, you can. You'll get classes, books, mocks, live classes, descriptive practice sessions, books, notes, magazines, everything will be available. So if you want, you can enroll now. So that is all from my side. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good weekend, and see you all in my next one. Till then, keep studying, download the PDF, and revise whatever we've done. Right? Thank you, and bye bye.